Hello everyone and welcome to It Goes Off. It's that time again where we have a look at all the major issues and a little program and a little segment we call Tick It Off. And Grantley Bernard, it was a tumultuous week last week with the Adelaide 36ers, and they announced that CJ Massingale, the long-time SEABL superstar with the Knox Raiders, just joined the Adelaide 36ers at the start of this season. They've parted company.
I don't know that they've parted company as much as he got the heave-ho, which
Yes.
I think not many people agreed with. Not many people thought it was a good thing. And I think it probably just will only serve to raise some questions about what is going on in Adelaide at the minute.
Well, it's a difficult one because CJ comes well credentialed with his work with the Knox Raiders over an extended period of time. 3-time SEABL MVP, and really it didn't seem like he had a lot of opportunity to show his wares. When he did, in one of the games, he had 18 points.
Against the Tigers?
Against, I think it was the Perth Wildcats in a game. And he just, he playing sparingly, wasn't big in the rotation. And I guess the biggest criticism of this decision is that never really gave him a chance.
No, well, he averaged 10 minutes a game and he averaged 4.1 points a game. Now, if you want to extrapolate that to a full game of basketball, well, that's 16 points a game.
Right. Not that that's always a good way to look at it.
But in terms of value for money, and they were getting him on the cheap, let's face it. It was a cheap import, cheap signing. What did they expect? What did they want? Clearly, they'd slotted him in to be a role player from the get-go. It's a strange one. Unless they have got something really cooking on the back burner, they're going to have to do something pretty good here. Then the question becomes, well, if you've got something good coming in, why didn't you have something good at the start of the season?
A lot of questions there, and I suppose only those internally would be able to provide those answers, and we're just speculating on what's going on. And clearly their form of late hasn't been all that good, and perhaps Marty Clark very nervous about what lies ahead, had to make a tough decision, and perhaps is out there, as you say, might have something in his back pocket there that's an absolute superstar. But if not, it sort of begs the question of why they'd make this decision at this time of the season. And I understand there might be a financial element to it because the timing of the decision was he was right on the cut-off point before they had to guarantee his contract for the remainder of the season.
Had to guarantee all 30-odd thousand of it.
37,000, I think.
That's a very, very steep impost, isn't it? They had to guarantee a bloke $37,000 out of $1 million salary cap. That's just massive.
Well,
what I would say is, if they knew they were going to cut CJ Massingale, why didn't they have the replacement ready to go?
Grantley, one team that we all knew that was going to be great and continues to be great is the Perth Wildcats. They're on a 5-game win streak. They've had their injury problems. No Matty Knight. And it seems like they can do no wrong because this new fella they brought in, Michael Dunnigan, he had an outstanding debut. 2 games.
Is he Irish?
Dunnigan?
I think he might be Dunnigan.
Or Dunnigan?
No, Dunnigan.
Dunnigan. Michael Dunnigan. Whatever his name is, terrific work. And he looks like he's a more than adequate short-term replacement for Matty Knight.
I think you'd be pretty happy with that.
And the form, 19 points on 8 of 11 and had the go-ahead basket against Wollongong. Although he didn't shoot the ball all that well in the second game against the Adelaide 36ers, great on the glass.
16 points, 13 rebounds, so that'll get you a game somewhere.
Yes, and the big question is, what happens with Michael Dunnigan when his time is up?
You'd think that someone would be looking to get it done again, wouldn't you?
You would think so. Concise words about Michael Dunnigan. Grantley, on the 22nd of December is the All-Star game. And we've been talking about this for quite some time, but excitement is building. Tickets still available, so get out there and secure your tickets because it's going to be a great weekend.
Probably a good chance that might be the next win that the Adelaide crowd sees.
Not sure about that. They've got some work to do, but it is going to be an exciting time when it's coming. What are you looking forward to most with this All-Star weekend?
Oh, I just think the whole package.
Yep.
I just think the whole package, the three-point shootout, the dunk competition, the game. I hope the game is got a bit of competitive nature about it.
That is the key, Grant.
And that it's not just a bit of slap and tickle.
No, we do not want slap and tickle, and I think that's the message to the players and the coaches. There's a time and a place for slap and tickle, and the All-Star game is not that. We want to see a hard-fought contest, don't we, Grant? And we also want to get your feedback out there. The best way to hit us is the NBL Facebook page, or you can jump onto our Twitter, Andrew Gaze, or actually Andrew Gaze 10, or
Grantley Bernard.
That's the place to hit us if you've got something to say and you've got an issue that you want us to address, because we have got some fantastic prize packs to give away, NBL prize packs. So we figure out what team you barrack for, and bang, all of a sudden there's a knock on the door, a big brown box full of NBL goodies. And this week, we've got some questions, and this one's coming from David Steele, and he writes, the possession arrow reared its ugly head a couple of times in the dying stage of regulation between the Cats and 36ers. When are we going to see the return of the jump ball so players can actually get rewarded for their hustle? Good on you, Daniel. I think that the possession arrow is the worst introduction of a rule in any sport in the history of sport. So that's my view. Grantley?
That's a pretty bold call.
No, but David makes a very good point, because you have this situation, you work on defence, you go in there, you dive on the ball, loose ball, and then who determines where the ball's going to go? A little arrow on the sidelines, rather than just throwing it up and having a legitimate contest. I think it's a great rule for the under-12s and the 14s, and it's a terrible rule at the elite level, and it's a FIBA rule.
I think you've got it right.
Okay, good. Well done, David. Next up, we have got a question from Anthony Kent. Grantley, and I think this is directed at you.
You do you?
Can you give us any insight as to whether you think Brisbane bid will be successful? And of course, looking at expansion of the competition, the Brisbane Bullets, one of the iconic brands in Australian sport, went away some time ago. Trying to get them back. What are you hearing around the traps?
Well, look, I think you can rely on gossip, or you can rely on fact, and the facts of the matter right now are that they're not in the league, and it's a work in progress. It's been going for a couple of years now, at least, I would have thought, and the league has just announced that the second Melbourne team for the minute is still on the back burner. They considered another proposal and sent them away to do more work, and I really think that you just can't go too early trying to create a new team or resurrect an old team, as the Bullets are. I just think you're better off keep your powder dry, and when it's all said and done, it's done. But I think there's probably still a bit of work to go.
It is, and make no mistake about it, the NBL and Basketball Australia are doing their absolute very best to get a team back in Brisbane and another team in Melbourne, but unfortunately the recent Melbourne bid came up short, and although it's a long way off, you still got to, they're planning ahead, and in order to do your schedules and get it right for next season, these things needed to be in place, and unfortunately they're not 100% there, and we've seen too many disasters in the NBL in recent times that you'd want to pull the trigger on that too quickly. But we're hopeful, are we not?
Oh, yeah.
Another question from Dan Hewing. Now, Dan Hewing, one of the great basketball fans, and
Patrick's brother.
No, this is home and away type Dan Ewing. This is one of the mega stars of drama on the television.
Bobby Ewing.
This is Dan Ewing. He's a strong unit, a more passionate Sydney fan you will not find.
J.R. Ewing.
No, this is Dan Ewing.
Oh.
And he apparently, according to the ladies, he goes all right on the eye as well, but I believe he's spoken for. But anyway, he asks, and again, he actually directs this at you because he knows that I have great respect for the Sydney Kings. So it's at you. And we sort of answered this question last week, but I'm going to answer it again because Dan wants to know, are the Kings legit contenders for the playoffs? Now, Dan, I would have thought that you'd be a little bit more confident and say legit contenders for the championship, not the playoffs. But there's, in my view, no doubt about it, they are legitimate contenders for the playoffs.
Oh, I agree 100%. They're in the top four, and going along pretty well. So legitimate contenders for the playoffs, no question.
All right, Grantley, it's now your time to shine. 3 very good questions, and please don't get overawed by Dan Ewing, the superstar, writing in. And hopefully just very objective about this. Who's the NBL prize pack going to? Dan Ewing's got all the gear anyway, so he doesn't need it.
He doesn't need it. I think the winning question today is David Steele about the possession arrow.
Good on you, David. Thanks for that. And don't forget to hit us with all your feedback. But, David, we're going to be in contact with you real soon, and a NBL prize pack will be coming your way shortly. As we do each week, we need to pay thanks to those that support this great game. And it all starts with a naming rights sponsor, and what a magnificent job they do. IronNet.
Connect better.
10.
And 1.
Sporting.
And far.
And Virgin Australia. And please do not forget to keep up to date with all the goings on in the IronNet NBL. NBL.com.au is the place to be. On Friday nights, if you want to watch a game, you tune into 1 at 9:30 nationally. Wonderful job they do. If not, on the Sunday, Channel 10, 2 p.m. nationally. It does not get any better than that. Sunday Arvo, bang, on the telly, live, IronNet NBL action. And if you're a real true fan, which most of you people out there are, NBL television, I got to watch the Melbourne Tigers, unfortunately, it was with a heavy heart, go down to the Townsville Crocs, and brilliant display by the Crocs, I might add, because they were gone for all money and showed great fighting spirit to get that win. But if you haven't got your subscription to NBL TV, make sure you get out there and get it. Grantley, fantastic work by you. We've got round 11 coming up very, very shortly, and in our pre-game show, you're going to break down and let us know where all the action's going on. So a little later in the week, make sure you come back and check out that very important show. And it's all part of the #1 podcast for the IronNet NBL competition in the universe. Something bigger than the universe?
No.
In the universe. And it's called It Goes Off.